Welcome to Soul Unscripted. This is the space where spirituality meets strategy and soul-led entrepreneurs come to remember who they are, why they're here, and what they're truly capable of creating. I'm your host, Lindsay. I'm a soul purpose mentor, intuitive business coach, and Akashic guide. And I'm here to help you bridge the energetic and the practical so you can build a business that feels as good as it looks. Oh, each episode, we dive into the real, raw, and unscripted side of entrepreneurship and also fumbles over your words. So, this is about the initiations, the breakthrough, the magic, and the mess, all through the lens of alignment, purpose, and truth. Because when you lead from soul, you don't just build a business, you become the embodiment of your purpose. So take a breath, open your heart, and I am so excited. As I say every episode, but truly, I really am, to get into today's episode and today's guest. So I'm gonna introduce and hand it right over to Ariane Vera. She is, we connected. I think it was through Threads and then onto Instagram, and we had a brief little chat already, and it just was such a beautiful alignment. She is such a beautiful soul. So I am so excited to kind of see what she has to share with everybody today, see where this conversation goes and everything. So I'm going to hand it over. Welcome, Ariane, to Soul Unscripted today, and share with the world what you want about yourself.
Thank you so much, first of all, for those beautiful words, for the invitation. And I'm so excited about the conversation today. As you said, we've already had like brief, well, not only one conversation, but also like on Instagram, just commenting and just sending inspiration. So I'm really, really excited to talk to you today and co-create the space. And I think something so beautiful happened when instead of looks you said luck, and I so believe in those lucky coincidences. So I think that was so beautiful. And that's exactly the feeling that I have today, and like entering the space. So yeah, I'm excited. Maybe for everyone who's listening, a few words about myself. So my background, I was born in Munich. My mom is German, my dad is Argentinian. I always knew that I wanted to go and explore the world, and I also always thought like I wanted that corporate career, and I did everything for it. And I had a lot of that shiny success already very early on. But then at 22, I got a burnout. And I think that was, as you so beautifully said before, like your soul is knocking on your door and is saying like, hey, there's so much more for you. And obviously you have no idea. And I've never heard anything about like soul or not even personal development before. It was just like, something was falling apart. I was actually really mad and angry because I thought I had done everything right. I had this shiny success, but it didn't make me happy. It didn't fulfill me. It actually made me sick. So I canceled everything. I left my old life behind. I packed my life into 2 suitcases and moved to Mexico and just followed joy. That was the only thing that I wanted to do. I gave myself the permission to follow joy, to follow my curiosity. And then, as so often in life, we don't always get our happy ending right away. So I had another really, I always say like you break to break open to break through. So I had that moment then later during the lockdown when I got divorced, when I lost my income, when life as I had known it, like it really just fell apart. And that was a really loud, like not only knock on the door from my soul, it was like smashing the door and like, hey, look at your essence. And that's when I started journaling, and then I published a book about journaling, and then I got requests if I could do coaching on journaling and manifesting, and that's how I built my business. And this is like exactly how you said it. When of course you can build a business from a niche, like something externally motivating you, or you see like, okay, somebody needs better toothbrushes, like maybe for someone that is their purpose, but for me it's totally not my purpose. And then there's this other kind of doing business, which is like your story, your path. You learned something. You maybe sometimes don't even want to build a business. I never saw myself as an entrepreneur. I thought that was just like for somebody else, like not for someone like me. But then your soul really puts it in front of you and says like, look, you have to do this because this is you. So also then doing business is so differently. And it's not just like having a business plan. It's really listening to your intuition, and I guess that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm very excited about it.
Yes. So I mean, I completely get what you talked about, and I'm sure that so many people will as well. I mean, I know, going through a divorce myself, and many other things. And, like, yeah, it's that breakdown before the breakthrough. And so, we have to go through that messy space. And that messy space doesn't just happen once. Like, it's something we kind of, I always tell people, like, we cycle through. We come to it from a different place, but we cycle through. And so, for people just to think that you master it and then that's it, like you're done. No, because
I
there's
wish,
so,
yeah, no.
right? Wouldn't that be great if it was just, but we don't truly be able to understand the depth of who we are and our gifts and what we're here for and everything if everything was just super easy, right? Some of the things we experience, they're all for a higher meaning, and it really truly is about how helping us step further into our divine self-expression. So just understanding that, like when you're in those seasons where things are hard and like everything's kind of chaos and you don't know like what way's up or whatever. But I mean, as you know, the whole idea of being able to like manifest and create our world and our reality, right? Manifesting has become such a buzz, but there's so much more to it. And I mean, essentially, we're doing it every moment of every day, whether we're doing it consciously or not. And so to bring in that layer, but I love how you utilize the journaling aspect of it. Like really going into that because I know it's something myself, like I really struggled with. And so I kind of started to give myself permission to do it in my own way, but I really struggled to kind of journal and get my thoughts out because I had really kind of struggled to actually think my thoughts, like to actually put to open up to some of the things maybe that I didn't really want to open up to, right? So I'm sure that the support that you bring to people through that, what you do, it's got to be so powerful.
I think journaling can be scary, just like you said it, because you have to be honest with yourself. And then it's about the depth that you just mentioned. And that's why we go through those messy phases and this chaos every now and then, because there's always a deeper layer. And there's always the question, how can I be more me? And yes, we're manifesting all the time, but the question is, are you manifesting from who you truly are, or are you manifesting from a lot of layers around you that are expectations, that are you doing something because of the applause, or you chasing something that's not even reflecting your essence? And that, of course, leads you to things as well, and it leads you to milestones. But the question is, how are you going to feel then? You can manifest anything you want, but your dream life, like the one that really fulfills you, like your own version of success, that is going to happen when you manifest from your essence and from your core. And that's why journaling is so powerful, because journaling, that it starts there when you notice how you speak to yourself. And I remember when I started journaling more intentionally, I noticed that I'm my worst critic. How am I going to create something beautiful if I'm constantly criticizing myself, if I don't have one single word of kindness and for myself? So the first step for me was, I have to be my own cheerleader, and I have to encourage myself, and I have to believe in myself. And that already changed so much. So yeah, journaling can be scary because you have to be honest with yourself, and that's where healing also begins. It's like removing everything that's not you. So then there's a lot more clarity and less noise, and you can listen to your own truth and to your own inner wisdom, and you can follow your own intuition. And then you get to those things that you truly want. Because intuition is always leading you there, but how are we going to listen to intuition when there's so much distraction and so many layers and so much, I have to do this because then blah, blah, blah. Like you really have to get back to your essence, and that's the best place to manifest from.
Yeah, you're right. I remember when I learned the concept of like true soul inspired desires, right? We all have desires and wants and things that but are they things that we want because we think we should have them or we think we should want them or because somebody else wants them, like maybe your partner or your parents or your kids, like it's something that they want. So you think, okay, well, obviously, like I'm in a man of, instead it's our true. And so journaling really, like I remember kind of struggling with, well, what are my true soul desires? And then starting to realize too, some of them seemed kind of a little bit egoic, a little bit materialistic. but some of them were true. They did have like this true depth to it. And so, giving myself permission that not everything like that, it's okay to desire things, right? And also experiences and just the whole gamut. But I didn't truly get to what were my soul's desires, like those true soul inspired desires that I have carried for years and years, and some of them even from my childhood.
Mhm.
What are those things? Like, here's a silly one. I always wanted a pool. I had one when I was young, but my goal was always I wanted a house with a pool. I wanted that for my kids. Now my kids are older, all the things. But it's funny because just looking at that and realizing that that was something. I mean, that to some people might seem completely frivolous, but it is something that I had wanted. I had an experience with it as a kid for most of the time, but for most of my childhood, and then obviously moving out, not moving in somewhere with a pool or anything like that. But it was kind of always it's like have kids, I'll get a house, I want a pool, like do that whole thing. And so, but realizing that it seems I mean, it's just a pool. But it's been something that like my soul has desired for. So now I'm in a space and I'm going, okay, I don't actually want a pool that I have to like take care of a pool, but I want what that brings. And so that's been a whole layer of looking at, okay, so what's that next level of my life? How can I incorporate that desire for a pool, right? Really what it is, it's just the essence of being able to swim. Like I don't like the heat because if you don't have a way to cool off, it is incredibly annoying. It's not fun. Let's be real. It is not fun to be out in extreme heat if you do not have a way to be able. So that was my thing, right? It was always that. I was like, I would love to just be able to sit out and relax in the summer, read a book, do whatever. And when I get hot, cool myself off. Like it was, and so but by journaling, by really truly getting, okay, what was it about the pool that I wanted and all the bits and the pieces? That's where I was able to kind of, again, put all this and go, okay, it makes sense now. And then again, too, especially if it's something you've had for a while, if it's a desire you've had for a while, it within you probably will shift and change, right? Like 20 years ago when my kids were tiny, or well, actually, 20 years ago, I only had one. But that version of it is obviously different than it is now. But that desire is still there. So the journaling piece is it's such a, I said it already, but I'm going to say it again. Like it really is such a powerful piece for people to truly tap into like who they are and what they want, not who all the noise around, because not only the people in our lives, but the world around us, we are constantly inundated with information that, and stuff or whatever. So it's like, okay, well, what do I truly want? Who am I truly when I remove all the noise from the outside world? So,
Yeah, and what is it about the pool that I want? So it's also important to not judge yourself because, as you said, like there's an emotion below. It's not just a pool to go around and say, "Hi, I have a pool. I'm a better person." This is not why you want a pool, right? You want a pool because it means something to yourself. And it's so funny because I have the same desire, and now I have a pool, and it's great because I don't have to take care of it. It's just I live in a compound, so it's a shared pool. Nobody goes to that pool, so it's almost like mine. I'm the only person who goes, and maybe a kid every now and then. But I noticed that I have to give myself the permission to want it, to get it. And I wasn't consciously looking for a pool. I just knew that I wanted to have one. And then it just came into my life. But that's like, you have to be intentional about why do you want it. And I just know I'm a better person with a pool, A, because it's hot, but also I get so many wonderful ideas when I'm in the pool. I feel so much better before every call, before every focus session that I have. When I'm at the pool before, I know that I get out as a better person. So there's a reason for it, and that's the soul piece that's in it. Like when your soul desires something, don't judge it. And of course I had those noises like, who do you think you are? Why do you want to have a pool? It's so like you're going to show off, etc., etc. Or just like also sometimes sharing a story on Instagram about the pool. I felt so much shame about it initially until I switched my mindset and I thought, well, no, it's part of me. I'm not doing it to show off. I'm doing that with the intention of this makes me so happy and I want to bring that joy to other people and also give them the encouragement, like whatever you want, you can have it, but get the intention right. And what is it about the pool that you want? How is it reflecting a piece of your essence? And that's why journaling is so important. And what I always do is I have these 3 questions. Well, actually, it's like 20, but like very short. It's like 3 questions that help you define your essence or define your core. So it's what fills you with joy? What are the activities that make you forget about time? And what is it that annoys you about others? And then you just journal on those questions and you write down everything, like without thinking about it, without judging it, and then you categorize. And the categories, it's going to end up like where it's a list from between 3 to 10 words. And that is your essence. So for example, one of my, I call it the inner colors, then your essence. One of my inner colors is creative expression. In that category, I have music, I have drawing, I have everything that has to do with art, even like going to museums. I just love that so much. And I know it's part of my essence. The pool for me is actually not pool, but it's connection. So my inner color is connection. And for me, a pool or being close to the water is connection because I get the best ideas. And I know that if I prioritize that, it's not about the pool, it's not about the showing off piece. It's about like, I know that I'm a better person. I know that I'm prioritizing my essence. And that I, like always, when you prioritize your essence, in every single decision that you make, you get closer to a version of success that truly reflects who you are. And that's also how it's so much easier to give yourself the permission to want the things that you want, because you just double check it with that list. Like, is it something that reflects who I am? And if the answer is yes, then of course go for it. And without feeling guilty for it, but just knowing this is who I am. And I can show up as a better person for everyone and create so much more for everyone if I feel like myself.
Yeah. Oh, that is, I hope that that really landed for everybody because I know it did for me. I mean, not only that are you sharing that like you had the pool and the whole thing, but as you're talking about all of it, and I'm thinking to myself, that's what it is. It's about the experience, right? Like the pool, it's yes, it's just an innate object, but it's so much more. It is really about what the experience that I will have or would have with it and stuff, like as you're sharing, right? And you're right, like being by the water is just, and yeah, the pool's not quite the same as being by a beautiful lake or the ocean or whatever, but it's still like the water. I'm sure people, like I know myself too, I get so many downloads in the shower. Like it's just, because, and also doing the dishes, strangely enough, because, I'm kind of distracted, my hands are distracted. But it's like, it's got to be that piece of the water, right? As I'm sitting here and I'm talking about this and I'm going, yeah, washing the dishes,
Mm-hmm.
water in the shower, the water, right? And stuff or whatever, sitting by the water or being in it, and whatever. It's again, it's that piece. And so, I mean, water is so powerful, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
I
just
do think, oh, sorry.
no, no,
Yeah,
no. Go
yeah,
ahead. Go
no.
ahead.
I do think that water has this cleansing as well, and this taking away everything that's like all the noise or like all the worries that are almost like stuck to you or like in your aura, and water just washes that away, and then you have a lot more clarity and you can listen better to yourself and you can receive ideas better. So I think it's about that.
Completely. Like, let's look at it at the practical level. I shared about it in the shower, so I'm cleansing myself. Doing dishes, I'm cleansing. Like, it truly, truly is. And that's one of the things I think to realize too for people is the things in the physical, like there's that energetic component to it as well too, right? And so, you're cleansing the physical of whether it's an object, yourself, whatever, through the water, but you're also cleansing the energy and stuff. So yeah, and water does symbolize, I mean, there's a flow to it, right? There's a movement, there's, and stuff, no matter where, like whether it's a river or I mean the ocean, right? The tide in and out, like all of that, there's just movement to it. So, it really symbolizes a flow of energy and everything. So,
You know what I also love about it? You know that moment when you're in the water and you have to like be really like make yourself like really, really heavy and not move, like just lay on the water. And it's so counterintuitive because you think I'm gonna drown, but you're not drowning. The more that you move and the more that you try to control it, you will drown. But if you just lay in the water and let yourself be carried, it's gonna be safe. And I think of that so often when I think about creating or your business or your life or when you're manifesting, let yourself be carried and the universe is there for you. And it's like that pool moment or that water moment, just just trust and don't try to micromanage so much and to move so much and to panic so much. Just be still and let yourself be carried, and you're safe.
Ugh, you're right. And it almost makes me a little emotional because, like, yesterday, I had this massive realization. So, this past year, and I know I'm not alone because I've seen a number of people talking about it, and I know you saw my post.
Yeah.
But I shared about how this year has been very strange. That it's like source pushed me off the cliff, but I haven't landed on the other side yet. So I've been suspended in midair. But I realized yesterday, and we are almost at the end of November, that it has been for this year. But I
Yeah.
have been in this space of not trying to control, not trying to push. And because anytime I did try to push, it just,
Didn't work.
and true surrender. But it's been the hardest thing to do because especially for somebody like myself who like my background is business. Like it's my education. So it's that strategy, right? It's the strategy side of like, okay, well, if you want, you got to do all this. But in this kind of a space and with this kind of work, that doesn't work. And the more that you force misaligned strategy and you force things out of that energy of lack or, that, when you're again, because like the mirror back, you just, you, you struggle to get where you want. But when you release and you allow, but for me, the hardest thing has been like it's been a year and it's like that, but I'm okay with it in some ways. Like it's a very, very strange place to be because again, I had all these plans. This year was supposed to basically be like a whole bunch of things. And that hasn't happened yet. And also, so it's very much like I'm really like I thought I'd been tested on surrendering and staying in the flow and receiving state and everything for years, but nothing like this year. Like truly nothing like this year because it feels like it almost feels and it's hard for me to say this. I wanted to say, and I stopped myself, but I'm gonna share, but I wanted to say that it feels like you don't have control. But the truth is we do. Like there's no higher power, there's nothing out there that is fully in control. Like we are co-creating all the time. And we do hold way more power than sometimes we give ourselves, credit for. But there's just been something this year, and like I said, like I've seen it. I've seen a number of people over the last month really talking about it. And I saw a post, somebody talked about how like a big name person, they made nothing all year.
Wow.
Nothing. And I was just like, wow. And so many comments underneath it were like, thank you for sharing because I felt, and I was just like, wow. Like, how many of us currently, right now, oh, full body shivers, but how many of us currently, right
Same.
now, are in this space where we are trusting and we are allowing and we're not pushing, but we're still struggling. And like, let's be real, we're human and we're going to have that, right? And so sometimes it's nice to see that you're not alone and other people are in that same, but just how many of us are in this space, whether or not you're not where you want to be, whether or not your business hasn't, done what you had hoped for it to be this year. Like, I feel so many of us see that next thing, but it hasn't hit yet. And we've been in this space of going, like, we know it's going to hit, but we're not in this space for only a week or a month. We've been in this space for a really long time. And you're shaking your head because you're like, yeah,
Same. Yes. And I've talked to so many intuitives and creative entrepreneurs as well. And I mean, I have a mastermind, so we're all like, it's the same, like we're intuitive business owners, and it's been the same for everyone. And it just, this year it has never happened to me. I've also been completely stagnant. And I see that there's a lot of growth, and obviously, like, we're not the same person that we used to be at the beginning of the year. So it feels like there's a lot of growth, but your business hasn't caught up. And it's so hard because it feels so close and you can feel it and you know it's going to happen and you know it's so close. And I think that's the reason why you don't give up. Um, but it's hard. I think let's talk about how hard it is to build something that comes from your soul, that you feel is yours, and you're doing everything. You're showing up every single day. You're working so hard and you feel absolutely nothing is coming back. If something is coming, it's more worries, it's more challenges, it's more setbacks. And still there you are, waking up in the morning, making your coffee and saying like, let's rock it. I'm going to show up today even better than before. It's so, so, so hard. And I was meditating on that the other day, and the answer that I got was, I don't know, I'm just going to put it here. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, but I think that this is a testing in like how much are you, like, do you really want this? And I feel that especially with coaching, there was this, I don't want to call it gold rush, but I feel like a lot of people did that because they thought, okay, I can make a lot of money out of it. And coaching isn't just making a lot of money out of it. Coaching is like guiding someone else on their path, and that's you like get the intention right. And I feel that there was a lot of the intention wasn't always that honest and genuine. So it almost feels like we've been tested, and like this is because especially those who do it with a genuine intention, I think we're the first ones to doubt. And like, is it really okay? And can I really do this? And is it really mine? And can I help someone? And like, of course, we're the first ones to doubt. So it almost feels like we've been asked to believe more in ourselves, to see the worth in what we do, to reflect on our own path and see, hey, that's actually so incredible what I've done. And just the fact that I didn't give up, that's insane. And we can be so proud of that. And this is not the moment to give up because we're so close. And it's almost like a filtering out, because those who really do it because they love it so much, like you need to love what you do in order to continue doing something, even if you don't get the results. And those who love it so much and who have the intention right and just do it with so much love and kindness and curiosity, we don't give up no matter what happens because we love it so much. No matter what happens, we get up and we come back to it. And I think that was the answer that I got.
Okay, I agree. I want to say, and then I'm going to touch on. So, one of the things that I know, and I actually commented on somebody's thread post yesterday because I had said, 25 years as an entrepreneur. If you do not think of giving up and going and getting a traditional job, at least once a year or once every couple of years. I mean, you could think it monthly. Like, I'm going to be completely real here with people. You could think it monthly, but as somebody who has been a business owner for 25 years, even now, it's still very common because it is hard. It's not easy. And you touched on how there was kind of this thing that happened. And if you were online and you had a business, even if you didn't have a business, if you were online, you probably saw it. But it was kind of this launch your coaching business and you can make 10K right
In
away.
6 weeks. Yeah.
Just follow my method and you can. It was coaches coaching coaches how to coach other coaches on how to launch a coaching business. And you're going to make 10K right away. And then those of us who led from heart and soul, we'd be like, okay, well, why didn't that happen for us? I mean, I never really fell into that because, like, right away from the beginning, again, being somebody who has built a number of different businesses, I know it doesn't quite work that way. And maybe you do launch and like jump right out of the gate and have like a great launch, whatever it is, you create a product or whatever. But sometimes then there's a dip and then you go months. Like, I have seen it time and time again where people maybe they do have that success right out of the gate, but that first month is all the money they've made for the remainder of the year because they're not building it on a solid foundation, right? They're not building it truly aligned. They just had a great thing that, went viral or whatever it might be and was like, go. But because of this, there's so many people, and you're right about the fact that like it truly is the test. Are you in this for the right reasons? And at the end of the day, I am going to say it, and people will be like, how can you be a spiritual person? How can you be a healer? How can you do whatever if you are about making money? Because our soul chose to come here and experience being human. Being human did not include lack, struggle, not having any money to have a roof over your head or food on the table, again, I'm not talking about having, you know, multi-million dollar homes all over the world and fancy cars and all that. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about the basics. Like, we're supposed to have all of that, you know? So to have that, you have to make money somehow. Maybe it's not through a business. Maybe you have investments or real estate, or there's so many ways to make money. But at the end of the day, you have to make money. And so, this idea that if you're a healer or a spiritual business owner or you lead from a heart and soul, that you shouldn't make money, I call bullshit on it. Because again, how can you live if you have no money? Now, that doesn't mean that you need to charge. I mean, I've seen $1,500 for a 1 hour call. And hey, all the power, I mean, I've heard of $10,000 or $20,000 for a 1 hour call.
Same.
All the power to you. If that sits right with you and that's what you want to do and that's aligned for you, all the power to you. But I'm not talking that. I'm talking more of like a reasonable amount of money for something that you're doing. But it's also really difficult with this type of work. Like a journal, you know, like creating a physical product, it's different. Like you know, again, there's kind of, but when you're doing the more supportive coaching, healing, energetic work, it can be really difficult to put a price tag on that. And so, you know, because it's so much more than a tangible product, right? To put a journal in somebody's hands, like but to be able to completely transform them, transform their life, transform their business, whatever, like it's difficult to put a value on that. But I had to add that because
Yeah.
there's, there's just such a disconnect from it. But also, like, I want people to know if they were like, well, they thought it should be easy, right? Well, this whole thing should have just been easy, and it hasn't been. Or you've been in the space maybe where it was easy at first, but this year has not gone quite as planned, right? Just like you said, we're in that test zone, and I've seen it and I've heard it that some people are like, yeah, the universe will test you. And then I hear other people and they're like, no, it won't. Like, God, source, universe isn't going to do that to you. But I truly believe, because I've experienced it time and time again, as I've shifted, as I've done deep work, shifted, you know, done a big, huge vibrational shift or quantum leap or timeline jump, whatever name you want to put on it, essentially, right? We're just shifting. But when I've gone through that, there have been kind of the things to say, like, okay, do you really want what you think you want? Or was it just, again, is it your idea that you're creating, that you're going after, that you think you want? Or is it because you think you should, or other people think you should, which is always a big one, right? That's where
Yeah.
as you shared, like you go through life, you have your career, you do all the things like you think you should, and all of a sudden one day you're like, but I'm not even happy. Like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Right? And I believe that when we're truly in our creator energy, the test might be more to say, okay, are you going the right way? Like, so we're not doing full detours, right? We're not completely getting off track and then having to come back. Like, you know, I think that that's why we're constantly being a little bit like rerouted to like, okay, this is good. Are you still going? Do you, I think you had said it, do you really want this? And those of us who are really leading from that true, authentic, embodied, because that's the other thing too. There's a lot of people out there who are not embodied in who they are. And so those of us who are, yeah, this year seems to be kind of testing us.
Yeah, I feel it's this do you really want it? I think that is what the test is about. Like everything that's not you has to go. And I feel that the speed was so fast this year, and everything that I tried to convince myself, oh yeah, I do want this. Of course, I can just do this for a little while. It didn't work. So there was no space anymore for doing something that's not really yours. And maybe that's why it felt so painful, because so many things broke apart or like fell off. And we were like, oh no, but I need this. And like, we actually don't need that. So the testing maybe feels so long because we haven't caught up with that new identity, and we haven't caught up with the confidence also to say, I want this, I don't want this. I need this because it's a soul need. No, I don't need this other thing. And just I make space for the things that are truly mine. So I feel also this test really was about everything that's not you has to go. And there's no way that you can play pretend. It's just not going to work.
You're right. You're right. And I know I've seen it many times. And one of the best things that I will say with regards to my business that this year has brought me, not only myself, because we are so beautifully intertwined, okay? Our business is an energetic tie to us. Just putting that out there for everybody. So, but is clarity. So much more clarity came in this year around who I am, what I do, how I want to help people, like how I want to do business my way and do it different, because I think that that's a big thing as well too. And I think as we come into 2026, that's going to be even more. My plan is to have this episode up before the end of this year because this message is so timely. It really needs to get to people. But when we go into 2026, it's going to be so much about like just doing it your way, not the way somebody else has kind of taught you to do. Like, take the teachings and then reinvent them for yourself and your energy and how you work and everything like that. Like, that's the big key. It's not this coaches coaching coaches how to coach other coaches kind of deal. Like,
Exactly. No.
this just copying the same thing over and over and over. That doesn't work anymore. Like, and I've seen it. I'm not I'm not big into like many channels, but I have also noticed on threads in the last couple of weeks, and I have no idea who any of these people are, but out of interest to kind of like tried to dig in and figure it out. But what industry would it be considered? It's like the marketing. Why am I drawing a blank at what it's called? It's all like it's not like they were like the girls or whatever who were all selling like the marketing courses. Like they were all becoming like the digital marketers. Is that what they
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
considered?
Yeah, maybe. Uh-huh.
So there's a whole bunch of that. Like there's just a whole even dismantling of that I've noticed by people like talking about and stuff like that. And it's probably a lot of it is because everybody's just okay. Like one day I think it was on Instagram, and it was reel after reel after reel of the exact same reel saying the exact same thing, but it was a different person. And I'm going, but they're all selling the same thing. And I was like, yes. So that doesn't work anymore, right? So people who maybe have all like it's kind of one of those you got in the beginning, but I find even there, like you're seeing that all of a sudden somebody who was huge is now all of a sudden vanished, and people are go freaking out about it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Again,
yeah.
because they're just it's this, true authenticity, your own method, your own way, your own story. That is going to be the key for people going forward. So, and I think that that's one of the things about this year is it's very much that cleansing energy to say, okay, who is not truly, I mean, we've just seen the huge dismantling of some big name spiritual people, and we will continue. Like, who big spiritual gurus that like millions of people looked up to, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, right? So there's that whole exposing that's happening that, and it's happening in everything, not just with the spirit, it's happening in everything. And
Everywhere.
so, yeah.
Everywhere. And I've seen that too. I don't think I've ever seen it so many times before, and also across different channels. So many posts, and like also the Substack notes and the threads. I love that it's like sharing a quick thought. And I've read it so many times, people saying, I'm so tired of the hook. I just want to write what I want to write about. I just want to get back to my creativity and just write from my soul. And I loved that. And it was always, there were so many comments, and I was fascinated with it. Just read through the comments, and it is the same. Like people are tired of it. And maybe it worked for some time, this cookie cutter marketing method, but it just doesn't work anymore because it's like, it's also, as you said, like it's always an energetic component too. So what is the energy that you bring across in a post? How do you write? And if you write something that you really feel and that you've experienced and there's a heartfelt energy in it, that will land. So also all the debate about ChatGPT is going to eliminate content creators and copywriters, I don't think so, because if it does something, it's like we have a higher craving for real texts and for real energy and for real people. And this is the authenticity piece. And the big question, who am I really? Who am I when I don't have to be anyone? How do I want to write when I don't have the structure in my head of like the hook and the call to action and whatever it is, or how do I want to lead my business? And one question that I always ask myself is, what is a business success that I would truly be proud of, or what is a business that I would truly be proud of? Because do you want to build a successful business that locks you in and then you don't have time anymore for your joy? You want a business that you're proud of, and everybody has their own answer to that. But just think of that and imagine that, and then it takes more time to create that because it's completely different from anything that exists out there. But if you create something that you're proud of and that reflects your essence. And yes, that can take more time, but it's going to speed up the sooner that you start creating from your true self.
Yeah. And I love how you said about success, because I really think that people need to understand that everybody's version of success is different, right? And so somebody's version of success might be having $1 million months. And then somebody else might be like, that's too much for me. I want a simple life. I just want to be able to, like, have a decent flow of money, right? Like the success is different for everybody, and giving yourself the permission. What is your success? Like, I've learned over the years through my dig that time freedom is more important to me than financial, right? And so if I'm going to look at where I want more of an abundance, I will not give up my time in exchange for a push for more money. And I truly believe, and I've seen it, you can have both. Right? Like you'll see people out there, and yes, one of the things with any social media is you will see all the opinions of all the people.
Yes.
And I tell my clients as well too, I'm like, just because it's my truth doesn't mean it's yours. I want you to truly connect back to like, what is true for you? And so you'll see people and they will say, if you're only working 15 or 20 hours a week, you can't be a real business owner. And if you're not making this much money, then like there's so many. We are inundated with so much noise that, even if you do not turn on the news or see what's going on in the world around you, which is a whole other layer, but even if you just you can just go onto one form of social media and you are going to be inundated. I mean, go on to Instagram right now because it's Black Friday and it's like every single thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've got some Black Friday deals, but it's like every single person, whether they're an influencer or a content creator, and it's just like churning out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's a nut, and stuff. And I get it. That's their job. Like, again, I get it. But all I'm saying is any of these channels, it's just so much. And it can be really, truly hard to be like, okay, well, is that my truth? Right? And play with it. And that's where the journaling key comes in as well, too. Totally not tying that on purpose. It's just that when you see a post and somebody says, well, this is it, and you think to yourself, okay, but and that's what I want people to do. Is that true for me? We are learning and I'm telling you this as somebody who went to school for education for small business and entrepreneurship. We are learning there is no one way to do business. There is no one way to market. There is no one way to show up on social media. If you want to do any of it right, do it as you, truly embodied in who you are and from your energy, and share your story. That's the key that's going to bridge you and bring you into what I think is this new way of doing business going forward
And
for
creating
us.
money. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And I love what you just said about there's nothing wrong with that. That brings so much lightness into it because there's nothing wrong with how other people live their lives. There's nothing wrong with how they post. There's nothing wrong with Black Friday deals. There's nothing wrong with high ticket prices. The question is that my lane? Is this what is true to me? And it's your choice if you want to engage with that or not. And that's it. And it's just letting other people coexist and letting other realities and perspectives coexist. But you don't get drained because you interact with something that's not yours. You just set that boundary. Now, I always imagine a bubble around me. Like I just stay in my own bubble and I just choose very intentionally what can come close to my bubble, what can enter my bubble. What do I look at? What do I surround myself with? And there's nothing wrong with other bubbles that are very far away, but I don't want to get close to that. I'm just staying in my own bubble. And that's why I love journaling so much as well, because if I have my list in front of me with my inner colors, I can reflect that back all the time. Like, if I think about success, what does success mean to me? And then I write about it, and then I read it again, and I reflect it back with my inner colors. I have a very honest reflection on if I want something that I truly want, or if I want something because it's externally motivated.
Yeah. And also, I want to add to that because understanding too that what you may have wanted can also change.
Yeah.
If I look at what I wanted 20 years ago to what I wanted 10 years ago to what I even wanted a year ago to what I wanted a month ago,
Or
it,
yesterday.
right? It has morphed
Yeah, yeah.
and changed. So our idea of success or like, where we're give yourself permission that if you wrote that out and then you're like, okay, I want to revise, right? Because to me, that means you're stepping even further into your true essence. When you have that ability to go, okay, nope, revision, I'm going to revise this a little bit, I'm going to make this more and stuff or whatever. So, and as I shared, like for me, I found like this kind of deep digging. This year has been very much about clarity, right? And so, even in all the hardest, when I have been at the bottom of the bottom, and you think to yourself, like, why me? What can I? There was just even so much like that I learned, that I grew from, and everything. Like in all of these spaces, just what can you take from it? And I kind of do that when I see posts where I'm trying to think or whatever. I saw a post that said, and I actually did make a reel about this even, but I had saw a post that said that like you can't start like really doing like your business and what you're doing until you're done healing. And I was like, you're
Oh,
never done healing.
yeah,
I'm
no.
like, I call absolute bullshit on that because we're never done healing. But that's exactly it, right? So you see something and then think to yourself, like, okay, how do does that? Do I, instead of just taking, especially if it's coming from some big name person that you think, well, they should know. Like I should listen to them. No, no.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter whether they're big, huge, big name that everybody knows, whether there's somebody that nobody knows, whether it's somebody with like very few followers you've never seen before, but it does not matter who it is. When you see something, sit with it, journal about it, figure out for you. And maybe it's just the thing like you said about the bubble. I envision the bubble as well too, especially when I go out into busy places. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, just
a
a bubble
bubble.
around you.
But some things you won't even play with because you right away you'll be like, yeah, no, that's not right. But if it's something, see and sit with it. And maybe there's a version or a variation of it. You're like, okay, I can kind of see that, but I kind of this. And so when you give yourself the chance to play in that energy of it, and journaling is that beautiful way to do that, it gives you that ability to be able to see, like, again, what is your truth?
Yes, and isn't that beautiful and exciting? Because it's a question that we can bring to every single day. What is true for me today? And how can I be myself or even more me today? What is my energy today? And how can I bring that into everything that I come across and everything that I create? And I think that makes it so, so beautiful. And that's why we're never done healing, but we're also never done creating and we're never done exploring. It's just, it's always this question of, okay, date, like teach me what I have to learn today. And like, what does it mean for me today to live my true essence?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay. These, this conversation, I'm looking at the time and going, we could continue talking for so
I
long.
know.
Like I feel we have only scratched the surface here.
Yeah.
We dipped our toe. It's just like just a little bit or whatever, dipped our toe into that pool. Um, but I'm also always aware of people's time and everything like that. So, but really, honestly, I am so, so
Same.
honored that you came on this with me and you shared your absolutely beautiful insight because there's just something about your energy that's just so grounding and everything. And I love that. So, please,
Thank you.
if there's any last words that you want to share with anybody, and also like how can people connect with you and everything? Because I'm sure that there's people who have been listening to this saying, I need to go find this woman because she is incredible.
First of all, thank you for having me and for this invitation. And I felt so at home. And that's just such a precious gift that you're giving me, like this feeling of being welcome and at home in the space. So thank you for doing what you do and how you do it. And yeah, so something that I would like to share, I always keep it very simple, but just keep creating. But it's so powerful, I feel, because like no matter what happens, keep creating. Everything happens for you. Come back to your essence, share, as I always say, like share your inner colors on the canvas called life, no matter what, keep creating. And for everyone who's interested in journaling, so I have a journal that's called the Feeling Journal, which is blank spaces, pages with a few illustrations. So if you want to start journaling, that's a good space. I have the book, The Healing Journals, which comes with journal prompts as well. That's definitely a good start for journaling. And then if you want to go deeper into it, I have the journaling and manifestation membership, the Atelier. And for everyone who wants to bring that into business, I have the membership, the Studio. And that's the journaling world. I would love to connect with everyone out there who's also a fellow journaler and co-create together.
I love that. Okay. And obviously, the links, everything to be able to connect will be in the description box. I will say though, I remember when like we first connected and I went to your website, I was like, "Ooh, I love it. I
Oh,
love
thank
like her
you.
brand, just the energy. I do audit sometimes for people or whatever to like look at that. I'm like, I just love it. I love it. So,
Thank
anyways,
you
just
so much.
I just had to add that because, and I'm sure the people, if they go to that after listening to this, they're going to see like such a beautiful, cohesive kind of, to who you are and your energy and to what that is. So, but, well, thank you for sharing all of that. And
Thank you.
again, thank you for coming on with me. Oh, just absolutely love it. So, to everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. And if today's conversation lit something up in you, I would love to hear it. I'm sure that Ariane would as well too. So until next time, please stay grounded, stay aligned, and just keep letting your soul lead.